All right, everybody. Welcome to Dude's Brunch. We have bananas and avocados, and we are very excited to have you. This is a podcast about pop culture, breakfast food, and general hilarity. On the panel with me this evening, in Cincinnati, Ohio, fresh off a shift slinging burritos, Tyler Reed. What did you have for brunch today?
Actually, Taylor, I was at a family gathering. We had shrimp
Aww.
pasta for dinner,
Okay.
not brunch. For brunch, I had the usual Chipotle. Whatever. We're out of carnitas because we believe in serving only quality ingredients.
Did you
GMO
guys
free.
just quit GMO? Is
Yep.
that what I read on the internet?
I literally don't care because I can't really tell a difference because Chipotle's always tastes the same. But if that makes people eat it more and that makes us healthier people, whatever, that's fine. I just don't want to have cancer in 20 years because, surprisingly, maybe all the stuff we put in our bodies was cancerous or whatever. Chemicals and
Yay!
yay,
Chemicals!
early death.
Hooray!
And on that note, up in the carcinogen factory of Akron, Ohio, Sean Evans, what did you have for
Oh,
brunch
that's
today?
not true. I had blueberry pancake muffins with syrup dipping sauce and black coffee.
Whoa, whoa,
Wow.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait, what did you have?
Blueberry pancake muffins.
Shoo, girl, that's more than black
Dude,
coffee.
it's easy. It's just like make like pancake batter and put it in a muffin tin.
Good for you. I'm
And then
proud
you
of you.
dip that in syrup?
Yeah. Why not? Why would you? What are you gonna do with it? Like, oh, I guess you could fill it with syrup. Deep.
We're
Taylor
changing the
Olmsted.
game.
Taylor Olmsted. The
Woo.
LeBron James of brunch.
Dunked it. And and that's as good an
What
intro
a good
as I
breakfast line.
need. I'm Taylor, and for brunch today, I had a bowl of Cheerios and some coffee.
And then you had some fish sticks and penguin crackers.
And yeah, and then I had battered fish and penguin crackers for lunch, which I streamed on Periscope
Aw.
because I don't know, that was the thing that happened. So let's dive right into it. Who wants to talk about their thing first?
Go for it, Taylor. You can
Awesome.
start.
I can start. So my topic for this week was Lonely Town. It's the new single from Brandon Flowers. There's a music video for it. And before we describe this new music video for the peoples, I just wanted to get your first impressions. Let's say 6 words or less. First impressions on the song and the video.
Go, Brandon Flowers. Go, go, go.
Okay.
True poet.
Interesting. Because mine was catchy, but stalkery.
Oh, see, that's what I was gonna say. I just would have said, could have been creepier.
It could have been creepy.
That was only 4. You have 2 more words.
I said 6 or less.
Get wrecked. There you
Oh.
go.
We can just limit.
So if
You don't
haven't-
drive 40 on the highway. You drive 70.
I don't know.
Stepped in traffic.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know. You ever been on the highway at like 11 a.m. on a weekday? Pretty slow.
Anyway.
I was wondering where you were going with that one.
Old people.
The
Following my,
road's so scary.
my long-standing axe to grind with old people. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, people over 50.
Drive faster. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so this Brandon Flowers track, it's kind of an 80s new wave, very synth-heavy song. It's got like some retrospective lyrics or whatever. But the music video is this very 80s girl who's house sitting, and she like puts the song in her Walkman and dances around the house, and you watch her dance. But as the video goes on, it becomes more and more apparent that you are actually a creepy stalker watching her through the windows of this house the whole time, and she like never notices you're there. And so my first question to you two is, did any of this seem out of place to you? The lyrics, the sounds, like the musicality, the video? Because when I first watched it, it didn't all sync up very well for me. Like, I enjoyed it, but it just felt off, and I was interested to see if you guys felt the same way.
Brandon, you and me are gonna have a talk real quick. So let me just say something real quick. I love you. I love you and the Killers. I love your voice. I think that you're this amazing person. But the auto-tune stuff, you know, like you're a little bit late to the party. It doesn't make your song bad. But, you know, like, you're better than that, Brandon. You and me, you know, we could be something together. And auto-tune is just not where we're at right now. But other than that, I love you, you know. Love your voice. Love your music video. Love the way you're going. You know, you had your thing in the past, and it was great. But don't stay there. Come to the future, you know.
Oh.
I mean, he's not wrong. Is the future is post autotune? Is that what the future is?
Yeah.
When we don't need autotune anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was the only part of the song that got me. I was like, like when he, I'm guessing that he's gonna put out like a full album of like Brandon Flowers.
Yeah, there's a solo album.
Thanks, Nathan.
The solo album is called The Desired Effect.
Okay, but I just think like, okay, well, auto-tune is, but I'm kind of happy too that he used it too. Like if that's what he wanted to do, I'm glad that he did it.
And it's not like Kanye West obnoxious auto-tune.
Right.
It's only on the bridge, and it's only there for a couple of bars.
So
Nathan reassured us that only 20, 30-year-old hipsters listen to this show. Probably accurate.
Probably accurate. Tyler, what do you think? Does it mesh together well for you?
Well, I would say I didn't mind the autotune. Because if it didn't have autotune in it, then it probably would have been almost like a period piece. Because, I mean, it felt pretty, like, true to 80s life, you know? The fact that it was just a little creepy, but not full creepy, and that if you really paid attention it was creepy, really feels like an 80s thing. Not that I would know what anything in the 80s was like, because I wasn't there, but I don't know, it just feels in the spirit of the 80s. I mean, it was a pretty cool song. It definitely felt nostalgic. It definitely didn't feel like I couldn't tell, you know, aside from the autotune, that it was a song from now. You know, other than, you know, I know it's Brandon Flowers or whatnot. So I mean, he did a good job of recreating the 80s. You know, well, it sounded good. It felt good. The video felt good. Everything about it, I thought was wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. I like what you said.
I feel like we're also pretty easy on the people that we critique on this show.
Well, that's actually something I wanted to bring up, because I did not like Brandon Flowers' first solo album, Flamingo. I thought it just sounded like boring acoustic Killers songs. But this feels like its own thing. Like, it feels very distinct from the Killers. Would you guys agree with that?
No.
Really?
Brandon Flowers is the voice of the Killers. I think when I hear Brandon Flowers, I think this is the Killers.
But it's not as like power chordy and Bruce Springsteen as
No.
the Killers record would be.
Right, but I don't know. I think everybody's in the mood to change, so if you're going to embrace it, you know, like they could end up doing something that's kind of crazy and it could still be the Killers, you know. I'm used to that now.
I got off the Brandon Flowers / Killers train when he started to make the statement or claim that there are humans and then there are dancers.
Are you a human or are you a dancer? Basically,
that you cannot be both. So
You can't.
I'm probably more of a human than I am a dancer.
Tweet at us at Dudes Brunch and let us know which one are you, human or dancer. We need to take.
What are
This
you?
is a
What are-
serious survey of
What
our
are you,
audience.
Tyler? Are you a human or a dancer?
I'm probably a human, but I don't know. I would have to check the racial abilities of a dancer. I don't know. There could be some good perks.
Taylor, human?
I'm
Dancer.
absolutely human. I can't dance at all.
Okay.
I mean, I can white person dance.
No, you do it. You do the Tyler dance. I actually showed this to somebody the other
Yeah.
day. The evolution of the Tyler, where it starts with your hands in your pockets and just moving your
Yeah.
feet.
The shuffle, and then there's the flail.
Yeah, and then there's the love guns,
There's
and
love
then
guns.
the flail, and then before you know it, you're
Right.
like throwing elbows and opening up the pit.
There's the shuffle, love guns, flail, open up the pit. I'm like a butterfly of performance art.
Tyler's 5 dance moves, which only ever happen in that exact order.
Unless there's not a sexy song, and then there's no love guns. It has to really feel the love guns.
Please stop making me laugh because I can't breathe anymore.
Have you never seen Tyler's love guns?
No, I just thinking about them all together in this like stream of as they happened was just absolutely hilarious to me.
If you come to Bunbury 2015, you will see all of these things and more. Indeed. So my last question on this Brandon Flowers topic is I really want to talk about the nature of music videos now.
You mean that they're not shitty? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not just that they're not shitty. Nathan says he's human as well, by the way.
Okay, well that's good.
More that you can do riskier or darker or more violent or more inappropriate things in music videos than I think you could when they showed them on TV. Like, this video is pretty creepy for maybe showing in the afternoon on MTV in the 80s.
I think this video definitely made airtime.
This one probably could, but think about like Big Data, the Dangerous video.
No, that never would have made.
Yeah, they like headbutt people to death in that video.
I don't know.
Or the Matt and Kim
80s,
video
I feel like
where
were
they
pretty
do all the sex
sexy.
positions.
Mm.
I don't know. I think music videos are kind of interesting now because they do these really risky things in them. What do you guys think about that?
Well,
Like dance with treadmills, like that, Taylor.
yeah, I mean, you could legitimately sprain your ankle by doing that.
Mm-hmm. We're looking out for your safety here in Dudes Brunch.
I really thought that I like this as a period piece, even though that was kind of hated on earlier. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. It kind of reminded me of Mad Men a little bit, and it made me wonder if Mad Men as a TV series kind of legitimized these decade videos where you could do everything that was a particular way, and it wouldn't be like corny or cliche.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing the period piece make a big comeback right now.
I think it's just interesting because, like, we've reached a point, I feel like, in our sort of musical history where we have sort of hit a wall of sorts, where it's not really so much like a technological ground that we can really, like, break through. You know, the 80s, you know, like the keyboard synths and whatnot was, like, a big deal, you know. So there's not, like, I feel like we're kind of pushing in a different way. We're trying to, like, try to appreciate the past by creating new, but like really reflects upon the old, which has really just it's postmodernism. That's all it is. Which I mean I'm still okay with as long as it's well done and it's not directly ripping anything off.
Yeah, I like that. The rest of the record, I should have assigned the other music videos. There's one called I Still Want You that's in black and white, and like there's hands moving over Brandon's face doing choreography, and it's very Rick Astley-esque.
Like the Cosby Show?
It's like Cosby Show meets Rick Astley. I'll link to it in the description. It's pretty intense. And
The audio version won't be able to see that joke.
Yeah, Tyler did the hand thing, audio version. Oh yeah, we have an audio version now. We'll talk about it during Shameless Plugs. Shouts out if you're listening on the audio. If you're listening on the audio podcast, tweet at us exactly how you think you would spell the air horn noise. Tyler, can you make the noise for them? So spell that out in a tweet to us so we know that you're listening and not watching. Um, so yeah, I'll link to the other videos, but then there's one where like Brandon Flowers is living in a Puritan village and he tells his wife that he has to go out into the woods for the night and camp, and he stumbles upon a satanic cult, and I don't know what's going on in that video. It's really odd.
Okay.
But the music is still like 80s synth pop, and there's like Puritan Satanists.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like it went more downhill than Take Me to Church. Fuck. That music video goes downhill fast.
Will you post to the video of Brandon Flowers doing the I'm a Mormon commercial?
Yes, I will also link to that. It's true. He's a Mormon, and he's very proud of that.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the references we were making. Okay.
No,
Do you think that was a
he
joke?
really is a Mormon.
I don't know.
It got
I told
me
you.
when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then he was like, I'm Brandon Flowers, and I'm a Mormon. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean,
I told you, like, my last album was...
what album was that? Was that Day and Age? Yeah, that was Day and
before
Age.
that. This was
No,
the
that
last
was-
one I listened to.
Yeah.
It's one thing.
Sawdust?
No, actually, no, not even that one. The one before that. Man, I just
Jamestown.
cared about the Killers.
Yeah,
Right.
Jamestown.
Gosh, that's oh my man. I was in like middle school when that album came out. You need to get back on the Killers bandwagon.
Jamestown?
Yeah,
I thought
Actually,
Jamestown. There we go.
I would have been in early high school.
Yeah. I thought they came out like when I was later in high school.
Yeah, because you had it in your car.
Because I remember the
Yeah.
first album of the Killers, I hated it, and now I would say that it's probably. Oh, we should have said that for modern classics. Let's do that real quick.
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz, modern classic, yes or no?
Without even listening to it all the way through, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Great album.
I gotta say, yeah.
So good. Right up there with The Strokes' Is This It?
Yep.
And like it's just one of those albums.
And that's why it didn't make it on the show, because they're too easy.
It wasn't even a challenge there. I knew it.
Yeah,
It wasn't Shrek.
right. Or we had to really consider the finer points of the ogre with onion layers.
Ogre with Onion Layers, the sequel to Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Right. Hashtag that ogre with onion layers.
All right. With that, I think we're ready to move on.
Thanks, Sarah. Sarah agrees. You're the
Awesome.
best, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay. Let's talk about Major League Gaming, Tyler.
Okay. All right, so this past weekend, Heroes of the Storm happened, which is the collegiate tournament for Heroes of the Storm, which is a game made by Blizzard Entertainment, most famously known for making World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, many things that I enjoy playing frequently. Is a hero brawler or multiplayer online battle arena or MOBA, Dota clone, Dota game.
What does this even
Acronyms.
mean? What are you even saying?
Nerd.
Nerd alert!
Anyway, so it's a very popular game genre type that has popped up within recent years that started as a modification for the Warcraft 3 game. Anyway, so it happened over the weekend, and it was broadcast exclusively on ESPN2. And so it was broadcast nowhere else, not on Twitch. Usually tournaments are on Twitch or something, because Twitch you can watch from any country, anywhere in the world. But ESPN2 only limited to America, so it angered some global fans. And so what I wanted to know is, what did you think of it? Did you understand any of it? Do you understand anything that happened?
I know what video games are.
Yeah. So that was a no.
No, I did understand it. I understand roughly how these game types work. I understand that colleges put together teams and they compete, and it's a tournament, and it's kind of a big deal, and there's prize money.
Yep. They got
Okay.
their entire college tuition paid for.
Oh shit.
What?
Okay. Sounds like I picked the wrong hobbies.
Dude, why did people, next time I hear somebody say, my childhood, I spent time playing outside, I'm going to be like, you're an idiot.
Shouldn't play video
You
games.
are an idiot. You should have been inside playing video games. That was my second mistake that I made not in going to
Right.
college, was not knowing a foreign language and not playing video games my entire childhood.
And not making either of those languages Korean or Japanese. Spanish, who needs that? We're gonna
Who speaks French anymore? No
Right.
one.
French, isn't that one dead language?
Anyway, so Sean, did you understand anything that happened? Did you watch this?
watched it. I was really entertained by watching it. I'm really
Yeah.
happy that I do think video games are actually sport. Because I do think it takes a lot of time and a lot of like skill to do them. Because I can't.
Mhm.
Like the only video game that I ever played all the way through was an ATV riding, the little things that you ride on game, and I already had downloaded the cheat to make sure that you win it all the way. So yes, as somebody who was historically awful at said activities,
Mhm.
I appreciate that it's actually taken very seriously by people, and it's too like it's a big art thing. Like people who design video games put a lot of time into that stuff,
Mhm.
and we should take it seriously. So.
And it was super important. I feel like a major part of the reason why people like these tournaments is because of the casting. Two of the people that were casting that game that you watched were the like StarCraft Archon known as Tasteless and Artosis, which are called Tastosis, and they are the Korean professional StarCraft 2 like commentators. And so, they have like TV shows or channels, that they broadcast games on, and they're like the official like American commentators for it. And then there's also Day9, who is also a very famous commentator, who is a brother of Tasteless, and there's like a whole story about that. And some other guy that I didn't give a fuck about, but whatever. So
It sounds like they did everything they needed to do to like give this cred.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had everybody from the gaming scene that they needed, and they represented it well.
Mm-hmm.
But your questions were like, does this belong on ESPN2?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting question to me because I watched the Twitter outrage
Mm-hmm.
before I ever watched this video,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. People saying like really terrible, mean things about the people on screen playing these games.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't believe it all. That these people, like people whose real names are tied to their Twitter accounts, are like saying violent threats against what's on their television. Yeah, Sean is recoiling in surprise. It got pretty nasty out there.
It gets pretty nasty even when it's someone's just own Twitch stream. The people that are fans of these people also just berate them endlessly. So it's like it's interesting that there is two fronts of anger. That it's not only the people that play the game and are familiar with what's going on. There's also people that don't even know what's going on and just don't
want
even
to watch football.
So it's like a two-pronged attack. Because there are people that are like, why wasn't this Dota 2? Why wasn't this League of Legends? Like they could have had bigger games. But anyway, Sean, you're going to say something probably more important than what I said.
No, I just think this is like the stupidest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, if you're like the sports fan that watches ESPN on a daily basis, and you're saying like, just pull up your article, like, the guy that says, I can't believe ESPN is showing nerds playing video games.
Fantasy football.
Like, so what? Like, do you want to see? Like, here's my deal with watching professional sports on any channel. especially football, because probably most people that comment this or have to like boast their masculinity by pretending that they actually have some kind of like athletic status when they can't even like run a quarter mile or something. Like, do you have to see somebody actually die or actually physically get hurt in order to be excited about something? Because that's pretty creepy, and it says a lot about you. And like, the other thing too is like this is so new to people who say like maybe this isn't the most popular video game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't it be cool just to see this on ESPN2? Like, I watch the Tour de France every year, and it has never gotten play on ESPN to the full series. Like, you have to subscribe to like deep cable to watch it every single day. And just to you guys, name a professional cyclist that's not Lance Armstrong.
Nope, can't do it.
ESPN 9 is that what?
Not even that. It's like NBC Sports. You have to get like real deep in there to watch it.
Wow.
You know, so it's like, stop. Just quit. If you're gonna be all, you know, butthurt over video games on television, you're probably just compensating for something else that you should really be butthurt about.
Right, but there are also people that had no idea what this was, also getting really into it. Like, there are people
That's the part that I really like, is I think...
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an ESPN person. It was on all the time in my house growing up because my brother's into it, and it just really bugs me. But
wait, you mean an entire channel that has stats that says nothing about stats?
And that all of the commentators talk in this voice, so it sounds like they're yelling even though they're speaking at normal volume, and it really just echoes through your entire house. Yeah. It's really obnoxious. And my brother actually used to set the TV to ESPN before he turned it off, so that as soon as you turn the TV on, there's sports commentators yelling at you. It was the worst. But I always liked watching weird sports on ESPN2 and ESPN3.
Oh, yeah.
Like the professional bowling and stuff, or darts. Darts was awesome, and I'd be like, I actually want to see this because I don't see this on an everyday basis.
Right. I like fringe sports. I think that's what kind of made this art and this like topic really cool for me, was because like fringe sports are actually really cool. You're not like constantly barraged with a bunch of bullcrap about them, you know. And like amateur sports, that's why people like. There's seems to be this conversation going on between people that like college sports versus professional sports, and they're like, college sports are much more fun to watch because they actually play for the game, you know, versus professional athletes that are paid and stuff like that. And I'm like, fringe sports, like, you don't even get a scholarship for it, maybe not anymore, but like these are people that are really into the game, like they really honestly care, like cricket in America.
What? There's a fan base for cricket in America?
Yeah, or rugby in America, like you don't really.
Dude, rugby's awesome.
But when you see it, you're like, wow, these people really care because they're not getting paid. You know, they could legitimately be dead tomorrow from this sport. But like, they're still showing up.
And there's professional marchers for like bands.
Exactly.
Band Pentecost shout-outs.
Yeah.
Who have to pay to be there.
That's true. A lot of these sports actually cost the participants money.
Right.
Because they're so unprofitable.
Yeah, so I think this is an all-around good thing. I do like the point, though, that international fans couldn't watch it because it wasn't online, it was on ESPN.
Right.
It's like a U.S. proprietary thing. Mm-hmm. That blows. I mean, especially when you're a niche sport, you should really be figuring out things in your licensing so that you can get play everywhere. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure they didn't have much of a choice in that. ESPN is a giant.
Thanks, Disney Corporation. Watch your backs, guys.
Well, I'm sure it had more to do with right. What you probably were, I think where you're alluding to is that ESPN exclusivity. They're like, listen, we'll give you a lot of money if we put this on ESPN2.
Right.
And they're like, well, you can only put it on ESPN2. I'm like, okay.
But it
yeah,
probably
I'm sure
has
that's
like
exactly
really
how
good
that
exposure,
happened.
though.
Yeah.
For the sport and everything, which is great.
But it's exposing them to, like, apparently a lot of people that either hate it, don't understand what's going on, and then like probably a 0.1% that's like, yeah, I like this game. You know? Right. So are they really appealing to the people that that want to watch it? Like, is ESPN2 where gamers like to watch their tournament coverage?
Probably not.
I just
Right.
think it's so new though. Like this is such like a landmark step
Mm-hmm.
that maybe it's not like landmark in terms of right now, but like the idea that you could watch watch professional video games being played competitively on television.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty big.
Are you familiar with the old cable channel G4
Yes.
or
Mhm.
Tech TV? Well, they
Mhm.
used to have professional like shooter, like Unreal Tournament, and like various like shooters and games that they used to. It wasn't like a tournament, but it was like competitive play. They used to host that on that channel, but that's certainly like a deep cable, as you were saying,
Right.
deep cable.
And
Like
it's
most
not.
people probably don't have it on purpose.
Yeah, and it's not like tournament cash prize type of thing like
It
this
probably
is.
was a little bit, but not at the stakes that
Yeah,
we're talking about. Yeah.
because I think that's the other part that really drives this home is that there are real stakes, and this is like an
Mhm.
actual competition.
Right.
It would be different if it was just like, oh, these are people who are really into Dota, playing Dota on ESPN.
Mhm.
Like,
Were people betting on this in Las Vegas?
Probably.
Okay.
almost definitely.
I'm just curious. I'd be curious how they did the betting. Like if they did a spread on
Well,
the
it was
points
also
or
on
like how
Derby
they did it.
weekend, and a lot of people bet on the Derby. So
Right.
Well, they did have like a fantasy bracket that they had like YouTubers do to see who they thought would win. But
Okay.
also, interestingly, the Dota 2 Invitational, I guess the last one, the most recent one, the fans of the game were able to put money, like to pay for things in the game, that would go towards the cash prize for the team who won.
Hunger Games.
Right. But it was
interesting.
like in-game like cosmetic items and stuff.
Huh.
So there is sort of like that's not necessarily like gambling, but it was like here, have more money for cool stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
And that was like a
That's kind of
$10
neat though.
million prize pool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
And that was a lot of fan input.
That's
Mhm.
pretty neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I like this. The more we talk about this, the more I find myself like really embracing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me want to actually watch it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, but we basically agree that pro gaming can be on ESPN too. But I just want to hear what you gathered from like the game that you watched, if you like, because I know you both probably skimmed it a little bit.
I
But
think to me, I would watch it in the same way that some people, in the same way that I like to think people watch NASCAR. I don't know if this is how people really watch NASCAR.
my father used to.
Um, but I had some family who watch NASCAR, and they would like check in throughout the day on the race and then watch the highlights at the end.
Right.
That's probably how I would watch this. And I know there are people that will watch NASCAR turn by turn and whatever, but I don't think I could do that with this.
I would
Yeah.
watch this like I would Olympic curling. Whenever the U.S. was on, it's like
There you go.
that sounds so dumb, but like since I don't really understand video games that much, I want to root for a team because like if OU or Akron or someplace I got in school had like a collegiate team that was on ESPN2, I would root for them. Like I seriously would tune in, but I don't really like after watching this, I still didn't understand that much. There was a lot of terminology that was like really not there for me. I was like, oh, yay, he killed that guy! Like, yay! Like,
Yeah.
that was about it.
That's sort of what I was looking for, was if you understood like sort of what was going on, because that sort of is what's good about Heroes of Storm, is that it's a game that's mostly about team fights. So like in other games, they kind of like stay in their lanes and just kind of hang out. Maybe in the later part of the game, things start actually happening. But this game, they have the objectives pop up, and you gotta go. Like everybody's just gotta dogpile onto the objectives. So it creates a lot of what hopefully is exciting moments. So.
Yeah, I think that's the other piece of it is if you're going to play video games on TV, you need to pick games that have lots of highlight-worthy moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody wants to watch you play Fez on TV.
Well, that's what YouTube's for.
True facts.
You watch someone play through Fez. But you're talking about teams. There is like I feel like a lot of people what they do is they have like a certain person that posts like YouTube content of like them playing Heroes of the Storm, and so you probably watch tournaments like or like Twitch streams of them playing. So it kind of gives you that team feel, but without needing to have a team. So it's interesting how that philosophy works because I feel myself like, oh, I'll only watch this if it's people I know. You know, if it's a certain person that I'm a fan of, like watching their YouTube stuff, then I'm definitely gonna at least stop by to see like a Twitch stream of what's going on. So.
I mean, I used to do that with like the X Games and stuff like that. Because yeah, I mean, particularly with the X Games where it's not the Olympics. It's just like, oh, I want to see Tony Hawk or Rodney Mullen or whoever like do this really cool thing, and then I'm gonna go do something else.
Right.
I think also maybe you're not a sports person, Taylor.
I'm not.
Right.
But like Sean, I am a like root for the teams that I have allegiance to.
Yeah.
Like I like watching Reds games and ooh, I love the Reds. Don't hate. And I don't know. I mean, I'll watch a Bengals game, but I don't get into it. So.
You mean Browns? So what I'm gathering is, if I invited Sean to a party to watch a live stream of a video game, he'd probably show up and try to pay attention. If I invited Taylor, he'd probably eat a lot of chips and talk to people.
You bet.
Yeah,
All
no,
right, so
you hit that like right on the head. That's exactly what I would have done. Like, I would be like, I would have to be that guy though.
No,
like the people in the movie theaters, like, what is that? Wait, so in the last round, did dude? Wait,
yeah. Did the dude do the thing with the stuff?
That'd be me.
Okay. And speaking of doing things with stuff, Sean just sent us a list of useless news, and that's all his topic is this week.
No. There was lots of questions in there. It was just more like talking points because I just kind of want to go through this organically. So my topic this week is actually a new section that I'm probably going to do a lot because this is kind of my hobby. It's called News You Can't Use, and it's essentially that, news that you can't use. It's not useful to your life whatsoever. But I try to pick things that other presenters and myself would be interested in. A little bit of social media, a little bit of video games, a little bit of television, a little bit of the internets, just so everybody would kind of come together. So I'm just going to kind of roll through this because it's kind of like a fast-paced section. So my first topic was digital afterlife. The article was asking, like, so what happens after you die with your social media accounts? And basically, to sum it all up, Apple, if you die and you have your Apple storage, it's case by case. Google will keep all your stuff and let it have by somebody else. Facebook will let you kind of will your Facebook to somebody else. And Twitter, don't die, because Twitter just lets nobody have access to it. So don't die with your Twitter. Thoughts
Famous
about
last
this?
tweets.
Yeah.
This is actually something that I had to deal with relatively recently because my grandfather passed in January, and the MacBook and the Apple Store account and a bunch of the other things were all in his name and needed to be, like, that data needed to be archived so that my grandma could still use the devices, but she didn't have to see all of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know any of his passwords, and so we had to deal with customer support and all of this, and it's kind of a pain in the ass when you're dealing with the funeral and all of the other stuff that comes along with that to have to call Apple support.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in the next couple of years we're really going to have to see better processes for how to handle this.
What was it like? Like, did you have to jump through like any like hoops or anything, or did they just
thankfully my grandpa kept pretty good records, so I was able to get his email password and from there reset his Apple Store password, and from there put in a terminal command to hard reboot his MacBook without a password.
Mm.
So it took a bunch of steps, but I ended up making it work.
Right.
And it took a lot of online tutorials.
Hmm. Interesting. So
So
Tyler,
Sean's advice,
after you die, going on with your stuff?
I think the message we're trying to deliver here is that don't die.
Just don't.
Right.
Do not
Just
die. Don't do it.
I'm sure Andrew WK would have something to say about that. But anyway,
Party
I'm
choice.
just gonna hit a delete button. I just want a big red button to just blow up all of my accounts. Just
You don't
that
want to
didn't
have
even
like
suck.
your online legacy type thing?
Well, we'll see how it goes. At the moment, I have little to no online legacy, but hopefully within the next 10 years, I will. I'm giving myself a pretty long period of time to do it, dude. So, I mean, that just seems really shitty.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like I get to that age and all of the websites that I'm using right now are still in effect. You know, I feel like I would have at least written down my password somewhere.
Right. Or let somebody know.
But think about
Or something.
MySpace too. Like
If
all of our
people-
MySpace accounts are gone, and we can't retrieve them because they
That's-
like dumped
that's
all
for
those
the best.
servers. It is for the best, but I also don't have any photos of my middle school self anymore because my parents didn't have any.
Oh.
Like
That's okay,
they've
too.
switched computers a couple of times, and all of mine were backed up in MySpace, so they're gone.
No.
I don't know. It's weird. Data preservation and privacy stuff is really fascinating to me in that way.
It just seems like, why wouldn't you have something written down? I don't know.
Tyler, into writing things down.
I mean, I have none of my passwords written down. I have absolutely zero. So, I'm screwed if I die like tomorrow. So, fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
So you want to move on to the next topic?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do
So
it.
the next one is video games. We'll just keep a good thing going. So there was an article that I posted by the Washington Post about Hillary Clinton's history with video games, and politicians' Politigeek street cred. So this is the question that Tyler was talking about. I asked, if a candidate plays video games, does that make them more approachable to younger voters? Yes or no? Would it get you to vote for somebody if they said, "Oh yeah, I played blah blah blah"?
Would it get
Are they
me
still
to
an
vote- to
old
vote-
white person?
What? Sorry,
I
there's
said, are they still an old white person?
yes. Like Hillary Clinton or Marco Rubio, they both have talked about it.
Well, Marco Rubio has an awful logo, and I'm automatically not voting for him if he's
So
a great candidate.
Tyler Reed votes on graphic design.
It's true. I made that declaration on Twitter that I
And
hate
now
all
you
the
have to
current
stick to it.
candidates. Campaign logos, they're all awful. Obama
They're
forever.
pretty bad.
I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for anyone. Sorry. But Obama would have won in my heart. My family's full of conservatives. I couldn't do it with a straight face.
What about you,
Anyway,
Tyler?
no,
game
it doesn't
votes?
make me any more or less likely. I think it's just interesting, but like, unless they're playing democracy and it really affected their view on policies, or they're like, yeah,
There was an article in Politico about that this week about democracy in video games that I'll send you the link to.
No, have you played the Democracy game series?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's like spreadsheets, the game. You get to strengthen and weaken different types of legislature, and you have to keep all of your different voter demographics happy to get reelected.
That
But if
doesn't
any
even
of your
sound fun.
demographics get too sad, they'll just assassinate you
There you go.
out of
That's
nowhere.
what I mean. It doesn't even sound
you
that
lose.
fun. It just sounds like real life. But
Yeah,
it's
I
someone's
mean,
fantasy. It's just strange.
I used to play it between classes when I would have to like sit in university buildings for long periods of time. It's not bad.
If democracy sounds like fun to you, then you should play Papers, Please. A game about working as a border patrol guard, making sure people aren't trying to blow up your country by looking at their papers.
Yay!
I can say
no,
that video games will
doesn't
not
change
make
who I
me
would
vote
vote
for
for.
somebody. It was cool to see Hillary Clinton holding the original Game Boy, but it wasn't, nothing. No video game playing will be enough to convince me whether or not you're a good.
Right. It's
So.
like what's his fuck from Fugazi, like upside down in the basketball hoop. It's just an iconic image that people will use in memes for years to come.
Okay, so next topic.
Next.
This one was from the Register, and that's a United Kingdom paper, and it was about. I'm just gonna ruin it because it's the summation and the headline. Apple it will not allow app developers to make timepiece apps for the iWatch because the iWatch is not for telling time, which is why it's called the iWatch.
So, two things. One, it's not called the iWatch, it's called the Apple Watch.
Oh, sorry. But it's still I was watching it. It doesn't really matter, does it? I think that's what got me. It was like.
So I read that headline and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Hey, Hello Internet. That's right. That's right, Nathan. I did start playing Democracy because of the Hello Internet podcast. Shouts out to Hello Internet. Big inspiration on this podcast. We're three dudes talking, though, so they step up their game. Not really. That podcast is great. I just got totally derailed. Oh, talking about timepieces.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised that they're doing this at all.
Why? This is so stupid. That's the point.
No,
like,
it's
so what you're supposed to do?
stupid.
Look at your phone. That's
No.
like
it
spending
does tell
$700 on an iPhone. Look at the date and time.
Sean, it tells time. What they're saying is they're not going to let third parties design faces for the watch.
Why not?
Because they want it. They want that money, though.
Yeah, they want to control the main image of the watch, which is the time-telling face. Like, when you lift the watch up like this, or like turn your wrist, it shows the watch face just telling time. It doesn't show any notifications or anything. They want to own that real estate. It's like the most valuable part of the device. And so it makes sense that they're not going to let other people design faces for it. Is it a good decision for the user? Probably not. But it's a business decision on Apple's part.
Oh, by the way, it was Guy Picotto that was hanging from the basketball hoop. Probably mispronounced his last name, but whatever.
I don't remember how to pronounce it either. It's okay.
It's like Piccolo, but not. Anyway.
I just couldn't believe that when I read that. This is the stupidest thing.
Well, yeah, but Taylor also answered it pretty accurately. They want to control everything. That's why they don't you can't modify the UI without cracking the iPhone or the iPod or whatever, They're all about their style. They don't want to compromise that. So
the brand.
Right.
I guess does that add security to it though? Is that why Mac is kind of safe?
Partially, and it also makes the design process for other things easier.
Okay.
So it's harder to design Android apps because Android phones come in all sorts of different sizes.
Right.
And so you have to redesign your interface over and over. Whereas Apple devices come in 4 sizes and you only have to do it 4 times.
Right.
It's just a different design philosophy.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, now that answers the preposterous
It's
question.
really just a clickbait article. For being real.
But people like me that don't know that stuff, I was like, oh, this is so weird.
Right.
It is weird.
I got baited.
It was just a clickbait title, really, is what it was.
Yeah. Also, Tyler, I looked it up. The correct pronunciation is Guy Picciotto.
Guy Picciotto. Guy.
Now you know.
Okay, so next topic, which is kind of 2 articles. It's the fact that Twitter's stock price fell this week when they announced that their earnings were less than they expected. I know this might not be the most exciting topic, but this just comes to my social media thing being a joke. I don't understand how they base initial public offerings and stock prices off of internet companies, social networking companies, because I don't really think that they have much assets to back up their stock prices. So I wasn't really surprised that Twitter's stock price fell 20% when they missed their earnings because, I mean, I don't know how they got it that high anyway.
So the Twitter IPO is kind of famous for being higher than it should have been.
Well, Facebook's was that way too. I feel like every internet, like look at Uber. There is no way that Uber has such a high price when literally their company is just like iPhones and a little building in California.
It's all about attention, though. Like, particularly, not necessarily with Uber because it's a service, but with Facebook and Twitter, the product is human attention and advertising space. And so there's a lot of calculations involved about how many active users they have, how much time they're spending on the site, how many ads they see per session. There's a lot of math to it. The problem is that that's like ideal math, and it doesn't account for real-world factors.
Right.
So, for example, like this huge fight that was this weekend, Manny Pacquiao and
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I'm sure that the number of active Twitter users was significantly higher nationwide than it was 2 weekends ago when there wasn't a fight on. And so those IPO calculations can't account for that sort of stuff, which
But
I
I just
think
think
is how we get these bad numbers and these bad earnings projections. And
But doesn't that like scare you? Like, okay, so that makes when I read this kind of stuff, it makes me really weary that there's like that we're not at the precipice of some new like bubble or something with social media companies having so much money, because there's nothing to back up those besides like events happening and like really risking it on new technology like Twitter. Like some of this article said that like Twitter's things our Twitter stock evaluations were based on their ability to get mobile users to use Twitter. I was like, and we let that happen so much. Like, I just don't want to see Twitter as a company go under and have a bunch of people out of jobs because we let the market and people in the market gamble on such a, very fallible stock and company.
I don't think you're going to see Twitter go under. I think it has too many users and too much cred to go down. I think when the bubble bursts, you are going to see a bunch of smaller companies go under. Some of these niche apps that people use that don't have that kind of funding.
Right.
And that's going to really screw people over, people who are like 1- and 2-person shops.
Right. Tyler, you shook your head when Taylor said that Twitter wasn't going to go down.
No. I mean, it's just part of so many websites infrastructure, and it feels like such an integral part of everyone's lives that, Taylor's job is Twitter. A lot of it is Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if they start, like, losing money for some reason, or, like, just because, like, they didn't hit a certain, like, quota, it's not like people won't step in to just give them money to keep it working, I'm sure Gary Vee be like, listen, Twitter's valuable. I'm giving them money,
Right.
Yeah, he was an initial investor.
Right. So, that's also that's also assuming that a website doesn't come out that is better than Twitter. It does what it does better. And that would be a different situation than Twitter just dying randomly, because that's probably not just going to happen. There has to be like a reason other than like their stocks not having a certain value, it feels like.
Right.
Yeah, so you didn't put this in the notes, but do you guys remember Secret?
No.
It came out maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3. You know what Yik Yak is, right?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, they're both pretty much the same thing. You log into the app and you create a username, but you don't tie it to an email address or your name or anything like that. It's completely anonymous. And you just post secrets. Secrets about yourself, secrets about other people, made up secrets, true secrets.
What was that website?
It's called Secret.
That's it?
Yeah. And they announced this week that they're shutting it down because
I heard about this.
Yeah, because too many people have been using it in destructive, violent, bullying, predatory ways to the point where it's just become this hotbed of controversy, and nobody wants to invest in it, and nobody really wants to use it anymore. I think that's how you could see a social media company die without competition, is if the wrong kinds of people like take over the platform and do bad things with it.
Right. Oh, I understand. Makes sense. So we have time to talk about one more article?
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
do it.
so we have a choice now. We have the Washington Post article on the Wonk blog of most racist state in America according to Google, or we have an article from Variety about Netflix original viewers data and binge watching. Any preference?
I'll let Tyler pick because I've talked a lot.
Ugh. Well, I don't want to talk about racism because we're three white dudes from Ohio, even though Ohio clearly
Did
There's
you
a
look at the
lot of
map?
red on that map.
Yeah, there's a lot. So let's talk about Netflix, and you can look at the article online about the most racist places in America.
Actually, you
according to
know
Google.
what? Let's talk about that.
You want to talk about it? Okay. So here's how the methodology
Why is
works.
that?
There was a company that did some research, and they did it by media market, and they looked at Google searches based on people's. Here, I'll just read it for you. So Google search volume for the N-word by media market in America, and then there's this graph, and it's colored by media market, showing about, which is just weird. It just hit me that they have less than average. Much less than average, more than average, much more than average. But I guess what I need to know is, the first question is, what is the average amount of search term for the N-word on Google? Because I don't know why you would want to search that on Google.
Well, and I was thinking about this too, is Google, like, you can check sentiment data on Google too, based on the other words in the sentence. Like, you can get a rough idea of if it's positive or negative. And that's going to play into this a lot, because if you're just looking up lyrics to a rap song that has the N-word in it, that's a completely different type of Google search.
I'm assuming that they didn't end it in, yeah, I'm assuming that they meant it in a very derogatory way here, that the methodology was right to that it wasn't just like...
we don't know the methods.
Right. Maybe we should ask for it on Wonk blog.
So, Tyler, what did you want to talk about with this?
Nothing. I just thought it'd be a little antagonistic to bring up the racist topic.
Looking at the map, I'm kind of surprised that it gets less racist the further west you go.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I expected it to be more of a north-south divide, not an east-west divide.
Right.
Now, why is that, Taylor? Why do you think there's a north and south divide? What do you think that is?
I mean, it's just traditionally, the South is more conservative, and particularly the Northeast is usually considered pretty liberal, but there's a lot of red in the Northeast on this
the
map.
whole state of Ohio is red. Every media market in the state of Ohio is red, with the exception of Indianapolis East. And every part of West Virginia is red. Most of Kentucky, Eastern Tennessee, which is just for the listeners, that's much more than average.
Yeah, we should mention blue is lower than average and red is much more.
Not that they can see it.
Well, the listeners can't see it, but it's all going to be linked in the show notes. You'll be able to click on it.
Which you can see it, but you don't. I don't know. That's why this article kind of sparked my interest, was because I was like, wow, so much for all the political science data that would go to show you that northern people are more accepting of differences than southern people. It goes to kind of show that's not the truth. If you want acceptance, move out west.
Well, I mean, Ohio is a pretty angry place as it is. I think we're pretty consistently ranked among some of the most unpleasant people in the country, so it makes sense. I'm not trying to say that racism makes us angry or that being racist against people makes us angry. I'm just saying we're angry and also racist.
I wonder what this would look like if you crossed it with a... I don't know if you guys... This is going to sound weird. If you guys have ever looked at the Southern Poverty Law Center map of hate, I wonder what this would look like if you overlaid it with that map. If there would be a lot of similarities or if there would be a lot of differences.
I mean, I'm going to make a leap of assumptions here that the eastern part of the country is more centered around racism because, let's be honest, it's probably a white and black issue. That's sort of where historically where more things I feel like took place was, I guess, in terms of the main
civil rights movement and
right,
all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Obviously, the West has more like Chinese or like just Asian in general, like probably like racism with like the gold rush and stuff like that. But I mean, I feel like the issue in America currently is, pretty Eastern based. So I mean, to me, it makes sense just because there's probably a lot of emotions, like lots of things going on. I mean, in Ohio, we were sort of like the end point for, the Underground Railroad. So I mean, whether we like it or not, that probably had something to do with it. Lots of black people are kind of not necessarily dumped, but put into Ohio. They probably moved somewhere within the general area. So there's probably wasn't a whole lot of movement past that because, I mean, with no money, presumably, not nowhere to go, they're probably not going to go, like, out west for no reason. So
yeah, there's actually, if you watch the, like, Ken Burns Prohibition and things like that, there are a lot of really interesting comments on that. One of my favorites is that Ken Burns argues that Cincinnati isn't a music city like Chicago is because it didn't have solid public transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of these poor working class musicians, many of whom were African American in the blues scene, moved to Chicago because you could take buses and trains and stuff and you didn't have to own a car like you did in Cincinnati.
Right.
Still don't have public transportation today.
Yep.
The other thing that I thought was really weird, and I'm looking at the map and I'm looking at Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the Cincinnati market, which is, I don't know, it's hard to tell. It's actually more than average, but Cleveland and Akron media market, where I live, is much more than average, which is really strange because I know that, but I think Taylor might be onto something here when you were saying, like, I wonder how they looked it up, like what search terms they used in particular. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer. I'd like to see the methodology now that you said that. But, like, Cleveland's African-American population to white population is much greater than Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's like 50-50 up in Cleveland, which is one of the higher places in America in terms of, like, population averages being equal. So
yeah, it makes you wonder the context of the word usage.
Right. Hopefully, I'm gonna email these people and just see what they did because that makes me really curious.
Well, yeah, let's
It wasn't
follow up on that
clear.
as you figure it out.
Yeah, it wasn't clear in the article. So good questions, guys.
Cool. Well, with that, let's bridge over into some shameless plugs.
With that landmine, that minefield we just tiptoed across.
Tyler,
let's get to the promised land.
We're not afraid to talk about issues on this show.
That's right.
Like we can have fun, but we can also be serious and ask legit questions.
We do a pretty good job of that, I think.
For three white guys from Ohio.
Right. Disclaimer: there's a star next to it.
Yeah.
But it's important that people understand that context that we are three white guys from Ohio. So it's like, I feel like I just want to go on a little tangent. I watched a video recently that was like, I feel like a few years ago people were like, don't see color. It's all about being equal. But only recently I feel like people have been like, no, color is important. Like who you are matters. And it's like I feel like for so long we had just like assumed that just be like everyone should just be treated equally. But you should still treat people nicely, but also with context to who they are and where they reside.
Well, I think Yeah. I think for a long time too, we lived under this idea that we were in this post-racial society where everybody was equal, and like recent events if you like needed to be convinced, like have shown that it's not that way. So, so I don't know. I think you're really right in saying that the facade of post-racial society is now, the curtain has been pulled back and the truth has been revealed a little bit, definitely not all the way probably, but you can't be in denial about it anymore as much as you were before.
Which
But
is really
you can find me
difficult
at
for a lot of
TDR
people.
Design wherever you want.
Yeah, so TDR Design, Facebook, Twitter. Where else?
TylerDReed.com website. How to snag in the website creation. Squarespace help was a great help. Good, because that's her name. And solving a problem for me. So I would highly recommend Squarespace if you're trying to build a website, especially one if it's a portfolio. They are very nice. They are very helpful and friendly, and know how to use social media. So TylerDReed.com. Everywhere else, TDR Design. I got nothing else to show you.
And I would just like to point out that Squarespace sponsors a ton of podcasts, but is not sponsoring this podcast.
Right. But they could if they wanted to.
They know
They
that they
could
do.
if they wanted to.
We just did a big shout out for them.
Yeah, we did, and well deserved.
They're all over the place for a reason.
Sean, what plugs do you have this week?
So other things that I created this week. First ever Dudes Brunch Ripped comic. #1. It's up on our Facebook. You should check it out. It's a gift book, but not.
What is a ripped comic, Sean?
Oh, it's just ripped off the internet. It's just little pictures off Tumblr that are put together in a way that would kind of make a story if you really wanted it to be, or you tried hard enough to imagine that it was. So this week was called Kurt Approves. So check it out. Yeah, so check it out. It's on our Facebook. I worked on it for like 5 minutes and I thought it was kind of cool. So yeah. Other than that, nothing really much. If you can find me on the internets, I'm at Evans_M_Urge with a URGE. You won't find me. You probably won't even look. So don't worry about it. See you next week.
All right. And so you can
jaded and sullen.
It's okay. You're building your reputation. It's fine.
Can I finish my sentence?
Yeah.
Absolutely, cutie. Sorry.
Thanks. You can find me on Twitter at TC Olmstead, as well as on Instagram, Snapchat, etc. You can go to my website, tcolmstead.com, where I'm going to have an article up later tonight talking about my favorite new music releases of April. I was going to have it up before the show, but then I was procrastinating and didn't write it. So that'll be up later tonight. Big Dudes Brunch news, though. We now have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, a YouTube channel where we do this show live, and you can watch the videos throughout the week by searching Dudes Brunch on YouTube. And as of this week, this show is available in audio form. So if you don't like watching us, or if you don't have time to watch us and you need to listen to us in the car while you work out or something, you can. You can find us on Stitcher, Overcast, iTunes, or you can get the RSS URL, ping me on Twitter at TC Olmstead, and I'll give you the link to put in your own podcast player, and you can listen to us on the go. It's really fun. So yeah, that's all I got this week. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye. Kiss, kiss.
Bye-bye.
Bye.